Because I wanted to give my own review about the Michael Jackson movie. So, I felt that it was extremely emotional. I feel like it was definitely very intimate. And when I say that, all the other movies about Mike was about certain aspects of his life, right? It was about, his childhood, how he grew up, where he grew up, how he became a superstar, his family, and stuff like that. But this movie was more about Mike. I feel like his nephew and the young star that played him, I forgot his name, Giuliani, I think. But it's like you had an opportunity to go on a tour inside of Mike's feelings, his emotions, his thoughts. It gave you more of what Mike is like individually. What is it like to be Michael Jackson? Have you ever wondered what is it like to be somebody? I feel like this movie exuded that. It gave you his most intimate, how he felt when he was by himself. And what stood out to me the most is the fact that they did reveal some of the physical abuse that Mike had to endure from his father. And based off of that, like, people keep saying, yeah, but Joe this, Joe that. You don't beat your children because they have an opinion about something. You don't beat your children because you feel like they're undermining your authority because they speak about how they feel about something. But those are the things that they got beat for. And Mike got it the worst because he was the golden egg. He was the goose that laid the golden eggs, period. He was the moneymaker. Everybody loved the Jacksons, but we all know that without Mike, it would not have ever gotten as big as it did. Okay. So it got an opportunity to see how he escaped that abuse as a young boy, that he dwelled into the fantasy world of Peter Pan. This is how Never Neverland stuck with him, because it was a place of freedom for him. It was a place where he could just be a child and mentally get away from what he was dealing with at home. You got to look at it from a psychological standpoint. See, when you watch movies, it's not just about production and acting and the story. It's also about the deeper hidden meaning and messages of the movie. So this movie for me gave me that part of Michael that we did not get from all his other movies. It gave us the psychological trauma. It even gave us his disassociation. To me, this is what I got out of it. Any time you're buying animals to become your friends because you can't find that in humanity, not even in your own family, that's trauma. That's trauma. That's loneliness. That man felt like an outcast in his own home, amongst his own community. He felt like an outcast in society. You went and you bought you a rat. Who buys rats? Mike. Why? Why was being so special to Mike? You got to think about this. Now, fast forward. This is when he was young. Becoming an adult. Then you go buy a chimp. Then you go buy a llama. These were his friends. He had real conversations with these animals, and confided things into them about his feelings that he couldn't talk to other people about. You got to think about that. So just knowing that gives you an idea of what it possibly was like to be Michael Jackson, to live inside of his individuality, his world as a person. What was his worldview? What was his perspective? And I feel like this movie shed light on a lot of that. It gave us that, it wasn't about his family. It wasn't about his parents. It wasn't about, his superstardom. It was about him and his quiet moments, his creativity. How did he come up with creative moments? What did he do to get these down low? It showed all of that. It also showed his fight for emotional and mental freedom. The man wanted his own space to do his own thing, be his own person. He didn't want to be identified with his brothers. He wanted his own identity. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can be born into a family. That don't mean that you have to take on that identity or your life. You are your own individual person. And Mike didn't get to have that. He had to fight for it. Then when he did finally take it, it led him into an arm full of people that was not for his best interest. Why? Because he never had an opportunity to venture out on his own and learn the world like he should have. So people try to understand why this grown man around children. Children were his safe haven. Children was his safe space. Animals was were his friends, his confidants, and children was his safe space. And for me, that's what this movie gave us, that aspect of him. You feel me? And even as an adult, right? 30-something years old, your father gaslighting you, your mother being the supporter of the father. And no strike against Katherine Jackson, because I felt like she did the best she could, loving her children, nurturing them. But she was not a spinal cord when it came to protecting them from Joseph's harsh authoritarian parenting style. The man was an authoritarian parent. He was very domineering. He was rigid. He wasn't open to anything. It was his way or the highway. And if you didn't do what he said, he beat you. He abused you. You understand what I'm saying? So when Mike opened his mouth and said his father abused him, he knew what he was saying. And then people tried to doubt him for saying it. How you gonna doubt somebody about what they experienced? The world got that bad. Fast forward. When it talks about his autonomy, his struggle for autonomy. We all have ways we like to wear our hair, ways we like to dress, things that we like to do, hobbies, imagine being in a family that's like a religious cult. We all know what religious cults are, right? Imagine being born into a family that's built up and operates like a religious cult. But this is your family. Except this is your family. You know what I'm saying? So that is my take on it. And when the nephew got on the scene, baby, let me tell you something. Mike is letting us know he's still present with us. He's letting us know, y'all took my body, but you ain't took my essence. You ain't took my soul. You ain't took my presence. I'm still here. Mike still got everybody turning up. How many years later? How long ago was this? 2009? Mike still got people turning up all these years later. All these years later, we still turning up on Mike. He's still influencing the world with his music. He's still bringing people together, which lets you know that what's meant to be can't be stopped. I don't care how they try to stop you. They might have took his body, but his influence is still here. He still was able to bring everybody around the world together, different cultures of people together in theaters to watch his movie. And we was up in there acting up, baby. We was, hey, got me working, and I, everybody was dancing. Melanated, Chinese, Mexican, Puerto Rican, we were all jamming to one cause. Michael Jackson. Michael Joseph Jackson, baby. He's still with us. Still with us. But it was very emotional to see him go through that. And then the world, you get away from that brutality just to get into the world, a world full of brutality. It goes from that, the minute that man got his autonomy, then here come the system, here come the world. Here come the world on his neck talking about he molesting kids. They didn't like Mike because he was too rich. He was too wealthy to be one of us. Mike he was surpassed wealthy. Okay? The man was like an inheriting gazillionaire. He had it. He was up there with the minority of wealthy people. They didn't like that. You owning all these people's rights to music. You getting paid. No, we got to get rid of him. He doing too much. We gonna send these. He like little boo. He like children. We gonna send him some kids. That's what we gonna do. We gonna send some little boys at him. And that's what they did. They set that man up, turned it into a scandal, and lied on him. And I'm gonna tell y'all how we know they were lying on him. In the land of the USA, United States of America, and every space that covers this land, when you are an accused pedophile and you have children living with you that you have custody of, the system will take your children and remove your children from you because those children are a threat to you. Even if they have no proof you were been a pedophile, even if you were accused of it and you have children living in your home, the system, the state will take your children from you and place them with relatives or other people where they'll be safe. They never took those kids from Mike. They all through all that whole time, they never removed those kids from that man's home. That's how all of y'all should know it was scandal. And he ain't never molested and touched no darn kids. Come on, man. The man constantly kept telling you, no, I didn't have a childhood. And he didn't. We know this. We know it. His getaway from his childhood, from school, getting beat because you too tired because you done been to school. Now you tired and you too tired and you got a wrong step moved in a dance and now you getting beat for that. They only showed a couple of times when he got a beat, but just imagine what they didn't show. Imagine what they didn't show. You getting beat because you didn't do a dance right, because you didn't hit a note right. Then you still got to get up and go to school. And you don't get no break from it. You don't get no break. You leave one show, come home, your daddy saying, mama saying, it's time to go to bed, y'all got school. Daddy saying, nah, get in here, we got to rehearse. And poor Catherine, that religion, again, that religion. She's Jehovah's Witness. I grew up Jehovah's Witness. I know how they think. I know how they do with marriage. It's a very misogynistic cult. Okay. So here it is. You're supporting your man over the safety of your children. Not that she did it on purpose. She was doing what she thought was right. But that's the toxicity of that generation that they've passed down from generation to generation. That's why you got so many male-centered women now putting men before their children. That's a learned behavior. It's a learned pattern. And where does it come from? Religion. That's where it comes from. Religion teaches women to do that. Religion teaches women how to be that way. I don't care what nobody say. Get mad, do what you want. Namely Christianity. Religion teaches women to put their men before the children and themselves, period. Okay, so this is where Catherine Jackson got her reasoning from. In her mind, well, he wasn't abusive. Yes, he was. You don't traumatize your children to fame. And that's what happened to that whole family, especially Mike, because he was the golden goose. When Jermaine wanted to stay with Motown, the daddy said, let him go. But you, Mike, I own your ass from 9 to 5. Okay? That is not only bullying, it's not only tyrannical, but it's trauma. That's abuse. You held your own son hostage because he was the golden goose that laid the eggs. He was the moneymaker. So that's what I got out of the movie, y'all. It was very emotional being able to get that individuality from Mike, to understand how he felt emotionally, how he coped and dealt with, the loneliness. He turned to animals as his friends and people looked at him, oh, wacko jacko, you're weird. Wouldn't you be? Wouldn't you be? He wasn't weird. He was a child that had to figure out how to cope. His mind, his defense mechanisms in his brain got activated. His threat mechanisms got activated. The man was terrified of his father. He was terrified of that man. He said in one interview that when his father would come into the same room, he was so scared of him, sometimes it would make him regurgitate. So when he finally got away from his family, it's almost like he went from one lion's den to the next. Mike didn't get a break. He couldn't catch no break, but that man was an earthangel. He was an earthangel to everybody who crossed paths with him. So all those people who sat there lying on that man, trying to say he was a pedophile, that he did all this stuff to them, y'all asses got a lot to pay for, and you're going to pay publicly and be shamed publicly for your lies and your treachery. It's going to come a time where they're going to be publicly. It's already happening, to be honest. It's already happening. Even it came out of them Epstein things that Mike was trying to protect children from the pedophiles by taking them to his ranch. Yeah. And they wanted us as a people to turn against our own people. Y'all got to quit letting these saltine people turn you against your own. Got to stop doing that. That man ain't never touched a child harmfully a day in his life. Some of us always knew that. But it's now coming out. And Mike is letting us know that he's still present with us. And that's what you call power, baby. He had power on this end. They didn't like it. So they wanted to take him out of the physical. But guess what? You can kill the body, but you can't kill the spirit, baby. Y'all go see that movie. I went to go see it twice. And I was partying through the whole movie. And Jafaar, baby, that man, his nephew, I'm trying to not to get emotional, but nephew embodied the essence of his uncle. Nobody else wouldn't have been able to do that. I just suggest don't cast nobody else to play Michael Jackson from this point on. And I feel like it's going to be a part 2 to that movie. It got to be. The only thing I wish they would have got further into is tell us more of what we don't know about Mike. As far as like his love life. Who you don't have to tell who he dated, but show us that part of him. We want to see. Because we already know Mike had some thug in him. We already know Mike liked women. And we know he did, but he never revealed that. So we want to see that. But anyway, I just wanted to give y'all my review, my perspective of the movie Michael. I adored it. It was emotional. It was very nostalgic. You know, it brought back a lot of beautiful memories in my life. You know, like Motown 25, we all sat in the family room as a family and watched it. And I remember my grandma laughing. Look at him dance, y'all. That boy can dance. My grandma was loving it, baby. I was little back then, but baby, we watched that together. Motown 25 and the Den in the family room. You know, and when I tell you Jafar became Mike, and it looked like we were watching Mike play his own story, play out his own movie. I give that movie an 11. If I can give it a 20, I would. Because not only did Jafar embody his uncle, he became Mike. Mike embodied his nephew in that movie. I'm telling you, Mike was in that. He embodied his nephew in that movie. Watch it. You'll see what I'm saying. He embodied him. That was a real life supernatural moment. That's what you call something, a spiritual connection. That movie was spiritual. Both of those children, both the little boy that played Mike and his nephew, both of them. But when nephew stepped up, baby, oh, you can't tell me that family didn't start bawling. You can't tell me because they knew Mike was present. Ain't no way nephew could have did that the way that he did that and embodied it the way he embodied it without Mike's hand being in it. Mike's still with us, y'all. Hey, got me working, and hey, ooh, holla, y'all. Go see the movie. I seen it twice. I'll go see it again if anybody else want to go. Who I want to go see it again? Yes, sir. Peace.